Just to let you know, I'll be recording this session, so it'll be available after the event for anyone who couldn't make it today. My name is Mairead McKeown, and together with my colleague who's here also today, Sharon Allman, we are Postgrad Operation Coordinators here at the J.E. Cairns School of Business and Economics. In the session today, we'll present to you 5 postgrad conversion programs here at our school. Firstly, I'd like to explain what a conversion program is. A conversion program provides non-business graduates with a well-rounded understanding of business. So what is a non-business graduate? We take students from arts, engineering, science, students who have a primary degree in those areas and they want to convert their skills into business. They might wish to enter into a business related career, or even as a stepping stone into one of our business postgraduate master's programs. For example, the Masters in International Marketing and Entrepreneurship, or for example, human resource management. It's also a program which will allow students to have a good grounding in business in order to assist them to start their own business, for example, and this has been the case in the past. So really to improve your career opportunities, upskill into areas such as finance, information systems, digital transformation, or to develop a specialism in marketing or HR management. So we hope that you'll come away today and be inspired to join us for your postgraduate studies. So today I'll be joined by our programme directors for the 5 conversion programmes. Breda Lally will be first up after myself, and she's the programme director for the Higher Diploma in Business Studies. That's also known as the DBS. And secondly, then we'll have Stephen McNeena, who's in the economics discipline and the programme director for our Higher Diploma in Economic Science. Thirdly, we'll have Dr. Owen Whelan, who's the Programme Director for the Higher Diploma in BIS or Business Information Systems. And joining Owen then will be one of his graduates from last year, and that's Ruth Baguskas, and she's still with us with assisting with some of our other postgrad programs at the moment. So Ruth was in the first group who took part in the Higher Diploma in BIS last year. Coming up after that will be Michael Lang, who's the Programme Director of the Postgrad Diploma in Digital Transformation. And finally, we'll have Cathal O'Careen, who's the Programme Director for the Higher Diploma in Financial Analysis. So together with my colleagues, I hope that we can help you within the session to understand and learn more about our programs. And of course, we'll be available at the end of the session for any questions you may have. So keep your questions until the end and be sure to go ahead and ask questions of all of us then at that stage. So just a little bit about our university, and that's what this slide is really showing. It's a photo of the quadrangle. NUI Galway is now ranked in the top 2% of universities in the world. Just this Sunday, it was named as the Sunday Times University of the Year for 2022. And the highlight within that review was the sense of community at NUI Galway. NUI Galway was established in 1845, where this building was built and housed many of the students at the time. It's now housing the Aula Maxima, and some of our administration services are within the Aula, the old part of the university. The university has been a defining presence and a recognisable landmark in Galway City for almost 2 centuries. It's a research-led institution, and it's at the heart of a distinct and vibrant region, which is renowned for unique creative industries, for example, in the arts, theatre and so on. And then, of course, in Galway, we have the med tech industries such as Boston Scientific, and the IT area such as Hewlett Packard and so on. So as a graduate of NUI Galway, you'll become a part of a vast alumni network across the world. NUI Galway wishes to build on your passion for learning and to encourage and support your desire to develop as a person, to explore new interests. And here you'll be given the support, knowledge, skills and self-confidence to achieve your goals and reach your full potential. This is the J.E. Cairns School of Business and Economics mission. And the school really has a dual focus, and that's on society and on business. It's energised by our regional edge here in the west coast of Ireland, globally engaged School of Business and Economics for the public good that makes a transformative impact for students, society and business. Some of our accolades in the past and very recently, some of our badges here within the business school and within the university are the AACSB, which is the longest serving global accrediting body for business schools and the largest business education network connecting students, educators and businesses worldwide. The Athena Swan Bronze Award, which we've recently received. And this is a charter that recognises and celebrates good practices in higher education in relation to gender equality and representation, progression and success. And NUI Galway is a member of the Enlight programme, which brings together 9 universities across Europe, enables free movement of students and staff, and the sharing of resources and collaboration across the 9 institutions, for example, Bordeaux in France and Ghent in Belgium and some other countries such as Sweden and the Netherlands. So moving on to how to apply. All applications are done online. So the HCI and Pillar 1 programs, you apply for them separately on springboardcourses.ie. And then for the internal ones, which are the higher diplomas in business studies and economic science, the application system is at NUI Galway at nuigalway.ie/apply. So there's a high demand for these programs. Now, the only thing is that HCI and Springboard courses only become available in springtime for next September. So I would watch for those, and certainly there's been a lot of advertising in the media for those programs. However, the 2 other programs, Breda's and Economic Science Stevens, they're already available and there's high demand for them, and offers are made on a rolling basis. So it's advised to apply as soon as possible, as soon as you're ready to make that decision. So the documents that would be required really for an application would be an ID document, so a passport or driver's license. You'll also need a transcript or exam results. However, some of you may be awaiting exam results, so you'll be considered on a provisional basis. CV and or personal statement. I'll refer to that a little bit further down. Sorry, I've just gone ahead. And English language competency. So if English is not your first language, you'll be requested to submit an English language competency cert. So for the HCI and Springboard, there are particular eligibility criteria in relation to employment and so on. Employment status is important here, residency and nationality. So available details on springboardcourses.ie/the FAQ, or indeed /eligibility. There's loads of information on that site. And then for those who have to write a personal statement as part of their application, we have personal statement tips, and I think Sharon is going to share the link to that here in the chat just now. Thanks, Sharon. So I'll hand over to Breda, who's going to present to you the Higher Diploma in Business Studies. Breda's been the programme director there for a while. I was also the programme administrator for that programme. So any questions you have, certainly ask, but we'll go ahead with Breda to go through that with you.
Thanks, Mairead. You're all very welcome to the Postgrad Open Day, and as Mairead said, I'm the Programme Director for the Higher Diploma in Business Studies. This programme has been running quite successfully at the university for almost 30 years. The primary objective, I suppose, of the programme is to help non-business graduates to adjust to the business world. It's a level 8 conversion course, as Mairead outlined there. It's open to students from a range of different backgrounds. I suppose a lot of the students will be from an arts background, but over the past number of years, we've also had students from law, science, engineering, music, nursing, social care. So it's a wide range of people that apply for the course and are successful in their application. We also accept applicants from both the EU and non-EU students. We have some international students studying on the programme this year, which is nice to see. Again, as I said, it's primarily designed for non-business graduates, but we do also accept business graduates. So a business graduate might be interested maybe if they haven't reached the requirements to enter a master's programme, and they may do the higher diploma in business studies as a further stepping stone, maybe to move on to a master's programme after that. The objective then is to train students, I suppose, in the fundamental skills of business administration that enables graduates of the programme to play an active and fruitful role in the development and management of business enterprises. So graduates from the programme go on to work in a lot of different areas in business. In terms of the core subjects then on the programme, they're accounting, economics, management, marketing and business information systems. And the objective again is to help students build their competencies in those core business modules. The assessment across the programme varies. You get a wide variety of assessments across all the different modules. Some of it involves individual work, like assignments and so on, and maybe online assessments as part of your continuous assessment. And then there's also projects, essays, report writing and so on. So you get a good combination of different types of assessment, or a good experience of doing different types of assessment. And it also involves teamwork, particularly in second semester. There's one core module, which is where the students work in groups, and in that module they get to mix with students from other programs as well. So it helps build up competencies in a range of different areas. Okay, if you don't mind moving on to the next slide, Martha, please. So to give you an indication then of the program structure, so it's a 60 credit module. The students take 30 ECTs in the first semester and 30 in the second semester. In the first semester, all the modules are core. So the core modules are accounting and financial analysis, management, principles of economics for business, financial management 1, management information systems, and marketing principles. And again, because the majority of the students joining the programme are non-business graduates, it's assumed that people don't have any prior knowledge. So that shouldn't be an issue for students coming onto the programme. It's accepted or understood that you're coming from a non-business background primarily. So then in second semester, Maria, if you want to move on there. In second semester, there's one core module, and that's called Innovation, Creativity and Enterprise. And that's the one I mentioned a few minutes ago, and that's where you get to do group work with different students. And again, that gives students, it helps them to develop a range of different skills. In the second semester then, so that core module is worth 5 ECTs, and then you have you choose 5 optional modules to make up the other 25 ECTs. So there's a number of options there in accounting. There's 3 different options in accounting. There's 1 economics module. There's 3 in management, I think, 3 in marketing, some MIS modules, and then you also have the option of 2 law modules. Again, this gives flexibility to the students. So what we find is generally that after semester 1, students have got a flavour of the different subjects, and they have a better sense of maybe where they want to go in their future career or where their particular strengths lie. So students can choose to specialise subject to timetable constraints. Students can choose maybe to specialise in the marketing modules if they want to progress to marketing in their career or further postgraduate studies afterwards. So again, students in the feedback, this is always something students like. They said that they like that flexibility, that there's a good choice of modules, and that it helps them to broaden their horizon across a number of different subjects. Okay, so you move to the next slide, Mary, please. So the next question there is why choose this programme? And I suppose, again, students choose it for a number of different reasons. Some people just because they don't have a business background and they want to widen their horizons and to open up further opportunities for the future. Some students wish to progress to a master's programme in an area of business, but maybe can't gain direct entry coming from a non-business background. And we find that each year about 10 to 20% of the students go on to further studies. There are other avenues, I suppose, for students to pursue from the higher diploma in business studies, and one is accounting. So again, some students come in and they find that maybe they have a flair for accounting that maybe they didn't realise, and they can progress to a career in accounting. And on that basis, the ACCA offers some exemptions. So if you do the core modules in semester 1, that allows you to get some exemptions from the ACCA. And then if you were to specialise in the accounting modules in semester 2, then that would gain you further exemptions from the ACCA. So we have had students in the past number of years who have gone on to train in accounting following completion of the programme, and they've been very grateful to have those exemptions based on the studies that they've done as part of the programme. For engineers then, as of July 2011, the higher diploma is approved as part of the Engineers Ireland Registered Training Providers Programme, or CPD training credits. And again, information can be found on that on the Engineers Ireland website. Okay, so if you move to the next slide. So I mentioned earlier on that about each year that 10 to 20% of the students go on directly, I suppose, to further postgraduate studies. A lot of them will go on to further postgraduate studies within the JE Cairns School of Business and Economics. And an example of some of the programs that the students have progressed to are the MSc in Marketing Practice, the MSc in Information Systems Management, the MSc in International Management, HR Management, and International Accounting and Analytics. And again, students like that those opportunities are there for them to progress if they wish. The remaining 80% or so of students go directly into employment on completion of the programme. And to give you a flavour of the areas that students have gone into following completion of the programme, they were accountancy, software consulting, marketing executive, business development and account manager, human resource officer, and IT recruitment consultant. So that just gives you a flavour. I suppose if you just complete the programme, it gives you a wide basis and opens up a wide range of opportunities for you. So there's a lot of different roles that you can get in a business environment on completion of this programme. Okay, and the final slide then relates to the entry requirements there. So this is open to degree holders from a university or other recognised degree awarding body. So you need to have an NFQ level 8 qualification or equivalent. And again, I suppose just to go back to the applicants and where the applicants have come from, we get applicants from all across Ireland basically, and from all the institutions across Ireland. So we have students join the programme that have come from the Institutes of Technology, that have come from UCC, Maynooth and DCU, for example. So we do take students from all around the country and from different institutions, and they're very welcome to apply. And as I said earlier on, we also accept obviously international students. And just for international students, you need the IELTS score of 6.5 or equivalent if that's applicable to you. So I think that has covered the main points from the DBS, and I hope that gives you an insight into the programme. So thank you for your time.
Great, thanks very much, Breda. We'll move on to the second programme. That's the second programme within NUI Galway that you would apply directly to the nuigalway.ie apply site. And the programme director there is in economics, that's Stephen McNeena. Hi, Stephen.
Hello, thank you very much, Mairead. My name is Stephen McNeena and I am the programme director for the Higher Diploma in Economic Science. It's a level 8 postgrad. It's a conversion course. It's aimed at students who have done little or no economics before and want to study economics, perhaps with the plan of continuing on to a master's in economics, or doing economics to move into the job market. It's 60 credits, all in economics. It's a level 8 postgrad. We have had applications from students who've had all sorts of undergraduate degrees, some students who have done arts degrees or business degrees. Some of them have done some economics, some of them have done more economics, some students have done no economics whatsoever. We've had students from music or science backgrounds. The programme is split into two streams. Stream A is for students with little or no economics done already, and they study the core modules that a second year arts or commerce student would study. Some other applicants would have done economics in their degree, but perhaps they didn't perform as well as they expected in their degree, or perhaps they didn't do well enough to get direct entry into a master's. So instead they do this level 8 higher diploma. And for those students, they'd go into stream B and they would be studying the third year core modules. So students take 4 or 5 or 6 core modules, and then they get to choose elective modules from they have a fairly long list, so they're fairly good choice. If they're more interested in environmental economics, they'll pick modules that are more suited that. They might have an interest in health economics. NUI Galway has particular strengths in health economics and environmental economics, and you'll see that reflected in that we have a level 9 master's in health economics and a master's in environmental economics, as well as two other masters. So I suppose students get the advantage that they're part of this a small program, but at the same time, many of the modules that they take are with other students, so there'll be a large cohort of students in the modules, 100 or 150 or 200, but at the same time they have an identity that they're part of a small program. And you can see in the third bullet point there, one module they take is a double size module. It's 10 credits instead of 5 credits, and it's where they undertake independent study. They write an independent research project in economics. They pick a topic that they're interested in, and with my help and the help of other staff, they develop that title or topic or area of interest into a research question that they're trying to investigate. And then I match them up with a lecturer whose research interest is in the same area. So, for example, we had a student this week who's interested in carbon emissions and climate change and the EU emissions trading scheme, which is an interesting topic, and I will match them up with a lecturer in environmental economics. So I suppose that particular double size module is challenging for the students, but gets them engaged with undertaking independent study, and can be something that they can add to their CV to say that they have undertaken an independent research project themselves with the help of myself and with the help of an academic advisor. So if you just move on to the next slide, is a list of the modules. Now, the core modules there are the core modules that a student takes in Stream A. There are 6 core modules. 4 of those are the same core modules that a second-year art student would take. Then students take electives. They choose from comparative economic thought or Irish economic history, international economics, environmental economics, health economics, and so on. About half of the students on the HDIP continue on and stay in NUI Galway and continue on and undertake a master's in economics in NUI Galway. There are 4 masters in economics. And if a student is interested in the health economics masters, then it's very likely that they'd probably choose the option there in health economics. If they're interested in environmental economics, then it's very likely they choose the option environmental economics. So about half of the students would continue on and stay in NUI Galway. And we encourage that. And they would stay and do a level 9 postgrad and masters. And to encourage that, we offer a fees arrangement whereby we consider the higher diploma as the first year in a 2-year course of study, and to acknowledge the students' effort and that they're staying in NUI Galway, we reduce their second year master's fee by €3,000, and about half the students use the HDIP as a conversion course and continue on and undertake a master's in NUI Galway. What sort of jobs, I suppose the question that people would say. We've had students in the past, graduates in the past, go on and work for banks. I was talking to a graduate there who's an interesting example of a student who didn't do economics at all in his undergrad, did the HDIP, continued on to do a master's in health economics, and is now an economist working in the civil service on placement in the Department of Health, dealing with all the challenges that the politicians and the HSE face in allocating resources in the HSE, which, as I'm sure you can understand, is a big challenge at the moment. So that graduate is a good example of somebody who converted from, I think he had a science or a maths background, through the HDIP into the Masters in Health Economics with his fees arrangement, and now is an economist working for the civil service. Thank you very much, and I'll be here at the end if anybody has any questions or queries for me. Thank you, Mairead.
Thanks a million, Stephen. And that's really interesting about the fees arrangement, and certainly make a big difference for those who are going on to do a master's. Stephen, you had a very nice slide prepared that I hadn't shown yet. And these are some of the industries that graduates from health economics go into. The economic science into economics. And
yes, and you can see a big range of employers there, from government agencies, and you can see pharmaceutical companies mentioned there. That's because of the health masters. And you can see insurance companies and banks and utility companies and state agencies like Enterprise Ireland and Board BIA. So I think it's reasonable to say that there are plenty of opportunities out there at the moment. You're probably aware that the labour market is tight. So now is a great time to be a graduate. And I think people with economic skills are in demand. Thanks very much.
Yeah, thanks very much, Stephen. And in fact, this slide can also be, relevant to all of our programs, because we certainly have people in a lot of these industries across the world. And as you can see, nationally, but I'm looking there at Deloitte, Enterprise Ireland, KPMG. I'm thinking of all the graduates who've come through, even the DBS, the earlier program, when I was an administrator there, and certainly then for the programs that we're about to talk about. So the next set of programs, if you like, were created last year. They're HCI programs, addressing a need for these skills within the marketplace. And so we have 3 speakers, and the first program that we're going to talk about is Program Director Owen Whelan, and that's the Higher Diploma in Business Information Systems.
Okay, thanks, Mairead. Good afternoon, everyone. So as Mairead said, I'm Owen Whelan. I'm the director for this program, the Higher Diploma in Business Information Systems, which is a 1-year program. If you want to go to the next slide, please, Mairead. So the purpose of this program essentially is to give people skills and training in business information systems. So the world, or business world at least, is becoming very much digitized. So as individuals and organizations and society, we're relying more and more on digital technology. So organizations need people who understand the business and also understand the technical side of their organization as well. And also people who have the skills to be able to manage the two of them. So that's where business information systems comes in. So if you have an interest in business, the likes of accountancy and strategy and management and finance, but you also have an interest in digital technology, how that technology works and being able to design that technology, well then business information systems is a good choice for you. So like Stephen and Breda mentioned before, we don't expect people to have certain qualifications coming in. Everything is taken from scratch. If you do have an interest in business and technology, well, this is a good program for you. So why choose this program? Well, there's just go onto any of the job web sites and you'll find that there's a huge demand for people with skills in digital technology. So organizations are becoming increasingly digitized, and even more so after COVID. We're working from home remotely, e-commerce has taken off again. So companies need people who understand how the technology works and how to apply that technology to their business in order for them to avail of opportunities and solve problems that might exist for them. So people with skills and in qualifications in business information systems are very much in demand. So the type of areas that people from the BIS background would work in, things like IT project management. So if a company wants to invest in a new IT system, well, that has to be managed as a project from start to finish, and people with skills in BIS will usually be very heavily involved in those. Areas like cybersecurity, nearly every organization has had some sort of a cyber attack at this stage. How do we prevent those types of attacks, and what do we do when an attack probably inevitably occurs in today's world? And that's where IS would come in as well. So as part of this program, you'll be exposed to the latest research from the BIS faculty here as well, and that'll be an advantage to you going out to the job market. And you'll also learn how to solve problems using technology, and also how to avail of opportunities using digital technology as well. So they were great skills to have when you're going out in the job market and talking to potential employers about what you can offer them. Next slide, please, Marit. So the way we've intentionally structured this program to give you as much flexibility as possible to design the particular path or the particular skills that you want to get from this qualification in business information systems. So in semester 1, we have one core module and the rest are optional. So the core module is management information systems, which will give you that grounding in what information systems and organizations is all about. Then you have the option of 4 modules that you can pick depending on what your preference or future career ambitions might be. So we have accountancy and financial analysis, management, marketing principles, financial management, economics, and business application development, which is about programming essentially, how to design and develop new applications, new digital applications. And also digital modeling and analytics, which is more about, we hear a lot about big data and analytics, and that will give you an introduction to that whole space. As part of the program as well, every student will do a group project or a major project. So I'll talk a little bit more about this as well, or maybe Ruth can talk a little bit about her project last year. So we'll have client companies who come in and they give our students a particular project or a problem to solve, and you work away on that and report back to the client at the end of the project. I'll talk a bit more about that project in a second. Next slide, please, Marit. So the structure in semester 2 follows the same path. We have one core module, what we call the ICE module, Innovation, Creativity and Enterprise, which will give you skills, very broad skills in those particular areas that are very important to organizations today. And then you have your 4 elective modules as well. So cybersecurity, which is obviously it's a big theme in today's business world. How do we protect our company's important information assets from people who might want to get their hands on them. Business application development 2 is an extension of the first module, looking at the program and developing new technologies as well. Implementing digital innovation, enterprise systems, IS innovation, business data communications, and managing digital transformations. So the second semester is intentionally designed to focus more on the information aspects of BIS, whereas the first semester it focuses more on the business side of things. So by the end of the program, you'll have a good understanding of business, how businesses work in terms of strategy and marketing and finance, but also the technical side of today's business world. And your particular skill has been able to merge the two together. So the major project, as I mentioned earlier, the class will be split into small groups of 3 and 4 students. We'll have a client company come in and they'll have a particular problem or an issue that they want addressed. They'll give the project group a brief, and your job is to essentially work on that with the client and come up with deliverables depending on what the client wants. So last year, for example, Ruth's project or team, they worked with Irish Life Health. So Irish Life have a particular app that they encourage their customers to use, and they wanted to do a study of the usability of that particular app, and that's where Ruth's group helped out with and reported back their findings to Irish Life, and they found those very valuable as well. So each group will have an academic supervisor like myself or Michael to guide them on the project as well, in addition to having their client who will be looking for a particular deliverable at the end of it. So in terms of our graduates and where they end up, it's a relatively new course, but our graduates, because every organization has a reliance, a very heavy reliance on digital technology, our graduates can end up in any industry sector or any organization. But from last year's class, we have people who have ended up working in banks. One who has gone on to work for Glanbia, working in their supply chain and operations management. Someone else has gone up to set up their own business. So that's another aspect of this program as well. You'll get to understand digital technology and how to use that to avail of certain business opportunities, which might encourage people or lead people down to a path of setting up their own business, which we would certainly encourage as well. So yeah, I'm happy to take any questions at the end of the talk today.
Thanks a million, Owen. That's really interesting. I like the idea of that project. Actually, it's very interesting for the industry partners as well to come in and have that work done by the students, especially at this level. So I'm sure it's interesting for them. I was just wondering, Ruth, would you like to just feed in while I still have the project slide up at this stage in the talk? You're muted, sorry. So, yeah.
Hi there. Sure, that's great. I'm delighted to encourage anyone visiting here today to apply for this program. I found it really valuable and enjoyable. I come from a background in I had an undergraduate degree in philosophy, and then a background actually shifted from academia to performing arts, and had a lot of experience in service industry employment, managing small retail businesses and food and beverage businesses, and then ultimately did arts administration and Pilates as a job. And I have been teaching Pilates here in Galway for about 16 years. And just over COVID, I had to transition completely to virtual business model, and it worked well, but I found myself getting really, really kind of lonely and wanting to work with a larger group of people maybe in a team environment, in a larger enterprise, because it's not, being self-employed during COVID for me was really challenging. So I looked into business opportunities in Galway and noticed that there were a lot in the area of business information systems. And then I looked into opportunities at NUI and found this program. So that's how I came to apply for the program. And as Owen said, one of the highlights of the program is the major project, which he's described, and we were able to use what we learned and throughout the program, and use quantitative and qualitative research methods to analyze the business problem that Irish Life wanted us to look at. And it was a really rewarding experience, not only in the research side and learning to apply those skills, but also just getting to practice our soft skills and our communication skills with a real life client was really valuable. And then again, learning to work as a team together in such a in this kind of project, remotely, given those constraints, all of those experiences tied in to make a really valuable learning experience that will cross over again when looking for employment in this field or any field, really. So I think that was a really great opportunity for all of us, and my peers, or the guys who worked on the project with me, have since gone on to do have roles as business analysts, and one has gone on to a master's, and someone else is doing tech, service tech. I'm not actually sure what the other person's doing, sorry. So everybody really sort of transitioned fairly quickly into employment from this program.
That's great, Ruth. And I suppose maybe just to mention that Ruth is still with us in NUI Galway, and she's assisting now as a technologist. And so I just mentioned, if you weren't here at the beginning of the call, I did just mention to Ruth that this time last year, when she was starting the BIS higher diploma, she really didn't imagine that she would still be helping out in NUI Galway at this stage, and within the business school as well. So well done, Ruth.
Yeah, and don't be afraid. And if I'd just like to add this, that I had always wondered, I thought I would maybe have an interest in, let's say, business application development. I liked the idea of that, and I was a little bit, intimidated by it for some reason. I'm not really sure why, because I really did, it's sort of like this, if you're not exposed to it, you think it's some kind of secret, unattainable skill. But it's actually really fun, and it was one of my favorite. It ran for 2 semesters, and it was one of my favorite. Well, I liked all of the modules, but I really enjoyed that and I worked really hard at it. And I was actually, you know, I found myself to be pretty, really enjoy it and be pretty good at it too. So that was a nice surprise. So I just encourage, if you have any glimmer of an interest, just look into it more and see if you'd like to apply.
That's great. Thanks very much, Ruth. And Ruth will be available as well at the end of the call for any questions you might have. So we'll move on now because we have 2 more programs and they're both equally as interesting. The first speaker will be Program Director Michael Lang for the Postgrad Diploma in Digital Transformation.
Thanks, Mairead. How you doing? Yeah, we'll just move along with this. The next slide, Mairead, please. Yeah. So I suppose we've just seen the higher diploma in business information systems that Owen has spoken about. And I suppose the first question that applicants may want to ask is, what are the differences between this and the postgraduate diploma in digital transformation, both programs offered by the business information systems discipline. The key difference is really that this is a level 9 program. This is a postgraduate diploma. So whereas the higher dip in BIS is kind of a conversion that would qualify you to go on to a master's. This one, generally speaking, the students coming onto it do have some background in ICT, although we don't absolutely assume that, but generally they do, and that's what we kind of look for. And in fact, most of the applicants on this program last year and this year as well are working in an environment where they aren't necessarily in an ICT role, but they're within an organization and they say, look, we have to transform our business. We have to do things differently. And COVID-19 has certainly changed the whole game there in terms of how businesses operate. Everything from your butcher to your cinema is done very, very differently. So people are we need to realize that technology is not just a way of solving problems, but also a way of grasping opportunities, and they're thinking about doing things in different ways. So this is about understanding how technologies work, new technologies, how they can impact business, how they can impact society. It's about critical thinking skills. Essentially, you are looking at something that's a problem for an organization, that's a clunky process, or perhaps looking at maybe new ways of doing things and saying, look, can we use technology now to solve this? So in a sense, you're like an architect in between. Yes, you need to know something about coding. And some of the graduates will become coders and go towards the techie end of things. And yes, you need to know something about business, but you're that go-between person in between the architect, between the business people and the coders and the techies, who understands enough about business and understands enough about technology to be able to connect the dots and put the two of them together. So we'll move on to the next slide, right? Okay, so the core modules here. The core modules reflect what the program is really all about. So systems development and project management. Systems development covers fundamental stuff in business systems analysis, gathering requirements, modeling business processes, modeling data, and the fundamentals of actually managing a systems development project. Then MS 873 is core material and generic material to do with business information systems. Now, actually this year we have a student who came through the higher diploma in business studies and had taken this particular module, MS 873. So any of these modules that people may have taken on other programs, they can gain an exemption from, and I'll speak about that as we go along. Then the other options, everything there with an MS code in front of it is offered by business information systems. Those without an MS code are offered by other disciplines, be it management, marketing, accountancy, law, and generic SBE, School of Business and Economics. Those other modules are dependent on availability by the disciplines that are offering them. So depending what background people come from, what their aptitudes are, what their prior experience is, they can come into the program and say, well, look, I know about programming already, I know about databases, but I don't know about digital marketing. So it's very much to kind of tailor towards the person's own individual background. We offer this suite of options. Some are BIS, and then we have other select modules from other disciplines. And likewise in semester 2, you have these 2 core modules. So you have managing digital transformations, which again is core, and then you have strategy and innovation, understanding how information systems help organizations, function better and how they're core to the way we do things. And then beyond that, then you've got a suite of modules, most again coming from the Business Information Systems family, but some coming from the Department of Marketing and the Department of Economics. Management. The majority of these modules are also offered on our master's programs. So in a sense, somebody coming into this particular program, no more than what Stephen said previously, they may do so as a gateway onto a master's program. And in the past, we had a part-time MSc in Information Systems Management. That is no longer there. Essentially, this now replaces it. The student can come in, pick their suite of modules, and then if they wish to proceed onto master's study, any module that they've taken, which is on the curriculum of the master's, they can get an exemption from, and the fees office can award a reduction in the fee based on the recognition of prior learning. We might move to the next slide as well. So as with the Higher Diploma in Business Information Systems, there's a major project here, which is really the capstone, bringing together all of your learning on the program, and more than just that. So always with the project, you put into practice what you've learned from your modules, but you also jump into the deep end. You take control of your own learning. You define the problem. So we do not give you a problem per se, because a key part of learning how to conduct digital transformation and solve problems is to define the problem. And students have to go and define the requirements, get their head around the needs of the organizations that they're working for, and move along from there. So you have very much a carte blanche here. The projects will vary from year to year, from team to team. But the majority of the projects actually last year were students on the program who within their own organizations had issues that they wanted to tackle. And there were teams of 4. Each group put together typically 2 or even 3 proposals, chatted amongst themselves, chatted with the supervisor, and then went with the proposal that had the most, I suppose, the most scope for doing interesting work. So they came up with pretty interesting stuff last year, in-house projects for organizations that they're working with. It's about 200 hours of effort. It kicks off maybe in the first semester, where you're just kind of defining the requirements and so on, but really gears up in semester 2 and is due in June. So it puts everything into practice. It's a real life project. Next slide. Now, so say there are a number of modules that are shared with other MSc degrees. Our 2 master's degrees we have with the MSc in Information Systems Management and the MSc in Business Analytics. So if a student wishes to progress to either of those 2, you can get an exemption for any module you've taken that's on the syllabus. You just then top up with your major project, an extra 30 credits, plus you have to have 60 credits of taught modules. But if you come off the Postgrad dip with 45 ECTS, it means you take 3 taught modules, do a major project, and you can get a master's degree on top of your postgraduate diploma. Next slide. Now, a lot of the students who go for this are working, and they have to manage their workload with family life, with work, with other commitments. These last 2 years, I suppose, we have been predominantly online with a lot of our modules. Looking forward into 22-23, we're probably going to be back on campus. You'd imagine that. So, how the program is going to be delivered in that scenario, we have to reconsider. Students need to be prepared to attend on campus. Perhaps we may have some online delivery, but you do need to prepare to attend on campus in 22-23. In terms of configuring your workload, there are various different things you can do. So in the first instance, if you have previously covered some of these modules, and you might say, well, look, I want to reduce the number of modules I've got to take, apply for the recognition of prior learning, and that kind of cuts things down. Always speak to your lecturer, your program director. As Mairead says, we won the University of the Year award. The reason is we're very collegiate, we're very student focused. Always speak to us, and we will do whatever we can do to assist you and to alleviate the pressure and help you to defer or whatever else needs to be done. Getting time off from your employer, I would recommend this. And ideally, your employer should probably be sponsoring this and seeing the benefit in it for you. Catching up on recorded material. Again, if we're in that scenario next year of recording stuff, it's something that you can do, but don't allow the material to backlog. Look, so there are ways of configuring your workload. I think RPL, the recognition of prior learning, is one that you should consider. It might just shortcut you by a module or two, make things more manageable. Then you might want to defer something to autumn, and you can work it. It is a full-time commitment, but if you manage it, you can do it on a part-time basis if you manage it properly. Okay,
Great.
Next slide.
Sorry, that's it for you, Michael.
Yep, that's it. Great.
So thanks a million.
Great.
I'm looking at the clock. Unfortunately, we're running out of time, and I still have Cathal left to present. But I just wanted to say to anybody who's interested, this chat is still live after the event. In fact, I think it's live for about 6 months. So any questions you have, go ahead there. So I'll let Cathal introduce his program, and yeah, we'll see how we go. Thanks, Cathal. Thanks, Michael.
Thanks, Mairead. Hi, everyone. So my name is Cathal O'Curran, and I'm the Programme Director of the Higher Diploma in Financial Analysis. So as Mairead mentioned, this is a HCI programme that's being funded and encouraged by the HEA, and the HEA and HCI are looking to develop these programmes in areas where there are skill shortages or where there's demand from employers. So one of the areas they're interested in is financial analysis, students and graduates who have aptitudes and knowledge of finance, accounting and economics, which is the focus of this programme. So it's a level 8 conversion programme, and you also need a level 8 degree in order to apply. That level 8 degree can be from any subject area. You don't need a business degree in order to do this programme. This year we have some students who have come from completely non-business backgrounds, and they're doing all these business sub-modules that are new to them from scratch. And we also have some students who have done business previously. So some of our students this year in the programme are BCom graduates who may be specialised in marketing or HR, and now we're looking to re-specialise in a more financial area. So that's also an option. And the programme objectives are to introduce students to the applied analytical skills that they'll need to secure employment in the areas of finance, banking, and other business sectors. And if you look at the profiles of a lot of the business leaders in Ireland, most CFOs and CEOs, that most of them will come from an accounting or a finance background, because it's very important to understand those areas to be able to run a business or start a business. So we introduce students to fundamental principles and analytical methods of accounting and economics, as well as all the other business areas such as marketing and economics. And then we specialise in accounting and economics in particular. So you'll see here the semester 1, the programme is 60 credits in full. Semester 1 is 30 credits, and there are 6 compulsory modules. So there are no electives in semester 1. You'll see in the list of modules here, it covers all the main areas of business. So if you just go back to the semester 1 slide, thanks for a second.
Oh.
But you'll see there that it covers all the main areas of business, and such as management, economics, accounting and marketing, and these are all introductory type modules. If you have done these modules before, for example, in your BCom degree or an equivalent degree, you can apply for recognition of prior learning, as Michael mentioned, and that can cut down your workload. So we have students this semester who, for example, were able to get an exemption for perhaps marketing or management because they've done those previously. So that's worth considering as well. And if you just move to semester 2 then, please. Thanks. So in semester 2 then we have the ICE module, which has already been mentioned. That is a module that focuses on developing a business idea and coming up with business ideas, and involves quite a few guest speakers and teamwork. And then aside from that innovation module, the compulsory modules for semester 2 are focusing more on accounting and economics, having developed the basics in semester 1. So we have more advanced modules in accounting, such as management decisions, financial management 2, and also more advanced modules in economics, such as macroeconomics and financial economics. and that makes up 25 ECTS credits for semester 2. You then have a choice of 1 elective for semester 2 to make up the remaining 5 credits. So you can stick with accounting and economics and pick one of those electives, such as international financial reporting, or economics, financial markets, or economics and philosophy. Or if you want a break from that and you want something completely different, there's an elective module on enterprise systems as well. So just move to the next slide. Thanks. So given that there is a large focus on accounting in the program, we do have a number of exemptions from ACCA, and that is of huge benefit to anyone considering the accounting route after this degree program. It will significantly cut down on the amount of professional exams that you have to sit after graduation. So upon graduating, you'll have a foundation of skills in all business areas and a particular knowledge in financial areas such as accounting and economics that will help you either gain employment in those areas or move on to further study in those areas. So that we have a number of accounting and economics masters here in NUIG that you could be eligible to study, and I've listed 2 of them there: the MSc in corporate finance and the MSc in international finance. And the accounting sector in particular is quite resilient in terms of employment prospects. It's quite recession-proof. Whether times are good or bad, you do always tend to need accounting and finance professionals. So if you just move on to the last slide. I know I'm tight on time. So the entry requirements, as I've said, are a level 8 degree. That level 8 degree can be from any in any subject area, but it does need to be at level 8. And the applications for this program, as Mairead mentioned, don't open until early next year. They're through the Springboard HCI site. And if you have any questions on it, I'm more than happy to take questions. My email will be at the end of the presentation here.
Thanks very much, Cathal, and thank you to Ruth, Owen, Rita, Stephen and Michael as well for joining me today, and my sidekick there, Sharon Allman, who's my colleague as the program operations coordinator. So the final slide there just gives you a list of our email addresses, and we're available for any questions you may have. I'm sorry that we've run out of time. So thanks very much. We're moving into another room now, myself and Sharon, for the accounting masters postgrad open day. So thanks all.
Thanks.
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 Thanks very much.